Hi everyone, welcome to Getting Started with FSM. I'm super excited to be kicking off this series to get to know FSM. This series is for the customers, partners, whomever. Please, we welcome you to interact, ask questions in the chat. We have Andrew on the call. We have our inbound team fully present to answer any questions that you may have. This is the first of the series. We're going to talk about the upcoming series as well as dates, how you can register, and share a couple more resources at the end of the series. All right. Before we dive into the series, I just wanted to put up the safe harbor notice for forward-looking statements. This presentation may contain forward-looking statements that are based on our beliefs and assumptions and current information that's available to us at the time of this presentation. So we don't, we want to make sure that you're not making decisions solely based on what's being discussed today. A couple housekeeping things to mention. So we've saved time at the end of the presentation for Q&A. Please use the Q&A button to submit your questions. Andrea and I will be checking in. Our inbound team also will make sure that we get all of your questions. The presentation will also be recorded and shared on the ServiceNow community so that you can refer back to it. You can share with your colleagues, whatever you need to do. And then after the event, you'll be prompted to fill out a short survey. And we really, really appreciate your feedback because it helps us to, fine-tune upcoming series, helps us to fine-tune topics and just whatever you would want to hear from us going forward. So we will be grateful to hear back from you. All right, so I would like to introduce the speakers of today, myself. My name is Salmat. I'm currently the Senior Outbound Product Manager for Field Service Management, and I have extensive experience as a field service customer myself, working previously with Amazon, as well as being a field service engineer at the beginning of my career. So I'm super excited to share all of my knowledge of field service management from a perspective of the customer, from perspective of an engineer. So that's me, and I'm joined today by Andrew. I'll let Andrew introduce himself, but together we will be hosting most of the topics in this series, alongside guest speakers from different teams, depending on the topic that we're discussing on that particular day. So I'll let Andrew introduce himself.
All right, thank you, Salmat. Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Lachey. I'm the Director of Outbound Product Management here at ServiceNow for Field Service Management. And like Salmat, pretty much my entire career has been in field service. So I'm excited about what we're going to be able to share with you today and excited to kick off this series. So
Yeah.
back to you, Salmat.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, like I said, this is a series that we've designed for all of you guys, anyone at all that's whether it's new to FSM, whether you're seasoned FSM, but you just want to just refine your knowledge of FSM. And here's a look into what's coming in the Getting Started series with FSM through August. We'll continue to communicate upcoming dates. So we're going to begin today with an introduction to FSM, just laying a foundation to help you understand the field service ecosystem and where FSM fits into your organization or your implementation. And then on June 18, we'll move into FSM implementation roadmap. That topic and series is going to be designed to guide customers on step-by-step through a successful deployment of FSM. And we actually have guest speaker from our expert services team who's going to be talking through that particular topic. So that would be very, very interesting. On July 2nd, we'll cover roles in FSM. We're going to break down key personas like our dispatchers, technicians, managers, planners, agents, and the value that each person brings into field service management. August 1st, we'll move into shift our focus to work order management, technician resource management, and get into like the operational earth of FSM itself, right? And we'll end this first half, so the first 5 series August 26th with scheduling and dispatching best practices. We're going to have one of our experts from our inbound team talk to us, give us insights and proven strategies to help maximize efficiency in the field. And so really each session builds on the last session. So again, if you're new to FSM or you're just looking to deepen your expertise, this Getting Started series with FSM is designed to really meet you where you are. And we implore you to register ahead, share with your colleagues, your customers. We're really excited to have this going to kind of connect with you in FSM. All right, so now that we have taken a look at the full agenda for the Getting Started with FSM series, there's ways to register for the upcoming series, and we have the barcode here. You can see the schedule. Again, like I said, we're going to have product experts. You can connect with your fellow professionals. We also have demos. We're going to demo the dispatcher workspace in our scheduling best practices. So it's really exciting. Scan the barcode to see the full schedule, or just click on the link you should have gotten in your email invite, and would really, really love to see you there. Okay, so today's agenda, I will be talking through introduction to FSM and understanding its ecosystem. Then Andrew will talk to us about FSM in action, our key use cases, as well as business benefits. After which, we will talk about next steps and best practices, and I'll share some very useful resources as we go further along in our learnings off and on of this series. So we're super excited again. I know I keep saying I'm super excited, but we are truly super excited to kick off this series because it's for you, and again, please feel free to ask any questions that you may have. All right, let's dive into the FSM's ecosystem, an introduction to it. And we have a poll question actually coming up. So do you have a poll? Let me know if you have a poll question on your screen. What percentage, just as a general introduction, what percentage of field service organizations do we think struggle with outdated or insufficient service technologies, which then affects their operational efficiencies and service delivery? You can also answer in the chat if we don't have the poll question up. I'm going to give us 1 minute to just go through that. All right. Okay, the poll should be up on your screen. So the first question, what percentage of field service organizations struggle with outdated or insufficient service technologies affecting operational efficiencies and service delivery? All right, okay, I see the answers coming in. Oh, this is close. This is very close. Super interesting to actually see the answers. Hmm, nice. Okay. So we have 15% said 22%, 46% said 87%, and we have 38% going with 37%. Drum rolls. The answer is 37%. So actually, despite being a critical function of for many businesses, field service organizations still face a pretty significant, there are pretty significant hurdles. And about 37%, so the answer is 37% are operating with outdated or insufficient service technologies. And that's more than a third of the industry. So that's struggling with tools that probably can't support modern service delivery, which then leads to inefficiencies, delays, and overall a poor experience for the technicians and for customers. So another statistics is nearly 46% are falling short when it comes to meeting SLA service level agreements. So that's not just a missed, it's not just a missed internal metric for the company. When companies fail to meet SLAs, this results in financial penalties. And then more importantly, that kind of affects customer trust and satisfaction. And that's one very big no. Finally, I think most importantly, one of the most important things in field service management is achieving a good and a high first time fix rate, right? Different companies call it different things, but the idea behind it is the technician goes the one time and they're able to fix all of things without needing a revisit, right? And if a technician cannot resolve an issue on the first visit, that would lead to a repeat visit, increased cost, and then we in turn have a frustrated customer. And that's, again, like I said, that's a metric that is a very strong indicator of operational health for most, if not all companies, right? And despite it being one of the strongest indicator, it's also one of the most common pinpoint and something that companies are always seeking to solve for. But then all this points to a need for larger transformation, smarter tools, connected systems, and just better ways to manage and support field teams. So being a field service manager myself, and at some point a technician, um, this slide hits home for me. I've always felt, the pain and challenges firsthand. So being a field service manager and then being a technician, let's talk about what are we up against, right? So we have the disconnected systems. There are times, I remember times when we have four different tools that don't really interact and talk to one another. So the dispatchers are on one tools, and then we have pattern inventory on another tool. We have customer data in emails or spreadsheets, and then that made coordination very slow and frustrating for field service managers. And then we can also talk about manual tools and processes. So for instance, we have technicians calling in during the job when they're driving to another job to give you notes on the previous job, or they're writing on paper and then they lose said paper, or they're texting you photos of completed jobs because the system isn't mobile friendly, or they don't know how to use it in real time. So then we're having to spend more time documenting work rather than actually doing the work. Technicians are having to spend 30 minutes writing closure notes when it took them less than 30 minutes to even perform the job in the first place. And then one of the most relevant ones now is labor shortage. So even when we have the right tools, we don't always have enough people or the right people. And then when we have new people, new hires, it sometimes take weeks to be able to onboard them. First, to learn field service management and the work that they're supposed to do, but also to learn the multiple systems and processes. And if none of these are intuitive, then it's taking way longer to even get them on board with the tools, right? So all of these challenges, they stack up and they hit the business hard. Sales drop, employees are burning out. And again, at the end of the day, it all goes down to making customers, and this leaves customers very unhappy. And so again, back being a field service manager, what this means is your stock pieces and everything together, disconnected information, switching between tools, right? And it shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be hard at all. We need and the field managers deserve tools that simplify their work. And that's the mindset that we have here at FSM. And when we go into every conversation, right, we're not just trying to solve a problem for the technicians, we're trying to make life easier for every single person that's involved on a job. The dispatchers that's connected to the customers, the technicians doing the work, the field service managers, resource managers, whatever you have. And this is just a fun slide that I thought is interesting. It's chaos for a lot of field service teams. This is their day-to-day reality. Dispatchers are juggling phone calls from customers to technicians, spreadsheets, outdated system. We've all lived this chaos, right? If you're working in field service team. And then we have technicians, they're in field, they're not sure of the job details, missing parts, or they're struggling to update their process in real time, progress in real time. And then we have managers, they're kind of in between. They have to deal with customers are unhappy, and then they also have to deal with operations running very smoothly and putting out fires. So this is just one fun slide. Now, let's talk about field service transformation, right? So we've talked about the problems in field service management, the gaps in field service management, and when we talk about the solution, it's not about solving one problem. As again, we listed about three major things, right? We talked about first visit rates, we talked about cost. It's about unlocking value across the board for field service management. So when we drive operational efficiency, we can improve customer experience by delivering faster and more accurate on time and first visit resolution, which is very important as we talked about. We can also decrease operational cost by reducing manual work, avoiding that, when we fix first visit rates and we're avoiding multiple repeats, we're saving money that way, streamlining scheduling. And then we're increasing revenue for customers by capturing service opportunities, upsells, renewals, when we have very, very proactive workflows. And these benefits is spread across multiple use cases, right? So whether it's servicing, it's installation, maintenance, inspections, or just even the basic break fix scenario. This way, we're able to have field service team gain visibility, dispatchers gain control, and managers, leadership, they gain clarity in how and where they need to scale in the business because every other thing is running smoothly, right? Um, all right. And then this is where ServiceNow, this is where it all comes together. And ServiceNow is we're currently reimagining field operations from end to end, right? We're starting with customers, whether they reach out through a portal, phone, email, we're met with an AI agent that can take calls, capture data, resolve issues, even before we have a human being involved. And then from there, we empower service managers and dispatchers with a unified desktop, so the dispatcher workspace. And instead of having to bounce between systems, they can get AI-assisted recommendations to create and assign work orders all in one interface, right? Then we have intelligent workflow to handle everything from there. So we have territory and route planning, there's scheduling and inventory, asset tracking, work monitoring, right? And this just transforms the experience, again, not just for customers, but for service managers and for technicians as well. All right. This visual kind of captures the essence of how ServiceNow is transforming business through AI. Because at the center of everything, you can see the AI agent, intelligent, always on, and just built to assist both employees, customers, field service managers. So whether you're troubleshooting, onboarding, tracking issue, helping a customer resolve a question, um, the AI on Now platform is built to really remove friction, increase accuracy, and scale within your business. And this is one of our mandates going forward is to really, really just use AI to improve business operations, especially for us within field service management. All right. So we have another poll question here. Um, Okay, I already see answers. All right, so how many features do we think we currently have in field service management? Oh, this one, we will just take this one in the chat if you don't mind. All
Maybe I'll
right,
give them a hint, Summit. There's a lot.
sorry. Exactly, there's a lot, right? Yeah, so. We have 30 plus core and then 83 plus total. Um, but take a moment to think about it, or just give us your best shot. Give us your best shot. Most times people are surprised at how many actually we have. I was surprised when I was putting this together, like, oh, this is so interesting. All right. Okay. So to answer this question, I will bring up a very, very fun slide here. So we have 100 plus core innovations and 200 minors. So if you guess that 200, 2000, excuse me, not 200, 2000, like Andrew said, a lot. As of Yokohama Family in Q3 release that we just wrapped up in May, we have had over 100 plus major innovations and 2,000 plus total. Um, and it's not surprising, right? But let's take a look at how FSM has come along the line, dating as far back of Helsinki. And this screen has just San Diego, just for, to capture what we currently have. However, it goes as far back as Helsinki, the H release. And what we're seeing is the evolution of field service management on the Now platform, right? So we have over 10 family releases, 20 plus store updates. We've delivered more than 100 major innovations. Just concluding the Yokohama family release, we had four major innovations, four very, very brilliant major innovations. We have from the foundational scheduling and crew in San Diego, we've come up with the capacity management in Tokyo, schedule optimization in Vancouver and Washington, and then even analysis for FSM that was released in Xanadu. Every step on this roadmap really reflects how FSM continuously seeking to meet customer needs with features, assisted assign, dispatcher works. I don't want to go too deep into it, but we've just consistently looked to um, continuously improve the experiences for every single person that's involved in FSM. So whether you're a dispatcher, technician, or a service leader, FSM today is not the FSM of yesterday. It's not going to be FSM of tomorrow because I can tell you we have much more brilliant features coming in Zurich. So as we also heading to the next wave with AI, we're focused on continuously continuing this momentum and delivering even more service, even more value, excuse me. And this series will continue to touch on many, many of these features. All right, that's enough yapping from me. I will have it over to Andrew to talk us through the FSM industry use cases.
Yeah, just one quick thing I wanted to say on the previous slide. One of the things that I really like about that is not only do you see all the features that we have in the solution that we've been adding over the last couple of years, but you can clearly see that the pace of innovation is accelerating, right? I mean, we're not at a continuous rate. Every release, we're creating more value and we're creating more of that value. So that's really exciting to see and paints a really good picture for the future. Okay, I am going to share my screen here. All right, are you able to see the screen? Can you confirm, Selma?
Yes, Andrew.
All right. All right. So FSM is a horizontal product, and what that means is that it cuts across many different industries. Anyone that has the need for remote field service operations, distributed operations, on-site operations, any one of those industries can use field service management. And that's quite a list. That includes industries like telecom, utilities, manufacturing, healthcare, retail and hospitality, oil and gas, construction engineering, public sector, universities, schools, things like that, transportation and logistics, technical, pure service providers, facility management, environment services. I could go on and on and on about all the different industries that have field service needs. Ultimately, what they have in common is they rely on their field service organizations to maintain uptime for the equipment, to meet the service level agreements that they have with their customers, either internal or external, and to ensure that the customer is satisfied and the operation is delivered efficiently so that the company is satisfied as well. And that's all done by focusing on getting that work done right the first time. So sending the right technician with the right parts and the right skills and the right equipment to the customer site at the first time with the right knowledge so they can get the work done. So, like I said, a lot of different industries. Let's take a little bit deeper dive into a couple of them. So, first one I want to talk about is telecom. So, telecommunications. These are companies that provide and operate large-scale distributed networks. They require timely installation of equipment, maintenance of that equipment, and customer support. So, some common things they do: installation and maintenance of towers, fiber optics, network equipment, and then also working with customers directly when they're doing things like setting up home internet and phone services. So going on site and installing routers, setting up boxes, things like that. Some of the key metrics that this industry really cares about: on-time arrival rate, network uptime impact, dynamic dispatch. They really care about route optimization because their technicians travel great distances often to deliver this service. Inventory tracking, and this is an industry especially that relies heavily on contractors. So using the contractor management features. What are their kind of key KPIs? They really want to focus on improving on-time arrival rate and first-time fix rate. So making sure that the right techs with the right skills get to the customer on time. And to do that, they tend to be one of the leaders in leveraging AI-driven scheduling with our schedule optimization tool. Next industry I want to talk about quickly here is public sector. So this is government and municipal agencies that manage infrastructure and public services. They typically have strict regulatory requirements and budgetary oversight. So this could be schools, grade schools, universities. It could be government buildings, things like that. Some common field service activities that they have is infrastructure inspections, public facility maintenance, utility repair, and field inspections to ensure compliance, legal and regulatory compliance. Some of the key metrics that they focus on are SLA compliance, work order completion time. They typically do a lot of work with crew-based scheduling, look for GIS integration, audit trails. They want to make sure that they understand the full life cycle of the service that was delivered and can see that going backwards. And then understanding how they do complex asset support. So assets with hierarchies, complex things like that. What KPIs really kind of drive them and using our software? Well, they're really looking at focusing on reducing the resolution time of the work orders that they have so they can get more work done with the resources that they have through centralizing the dispatch of those workers and by enabling those mobile technicians to have the right knowledge and have the right information to successfully do the work the first time they're on site. Third industry, retail and hospitality. So this is one that relies on having consistently operational storefronts and guest-facing environments that drive revenue and customer satisfaction. So this could be gas stations, this could be clothing stores, things like that, hotels, things like that. What are some of their common activities? Store and facility maintenance. So the maintenance of the facilities themselves and the assets at those facilities, point of sale, equipment installations and repairs, refrigeration servicing, signage, lighting repairs, that kind of thing. Their key metrics are first time fix rate, response time, appointment book. They want to support appointment booking through the portal. Like many of these customers, they have a centralized service group, but the individual stores can request service, so they can do that via a portal. Mobile app with online offline access. These technicians are traveling all around the country to perform the service for this. And then technician tracking and SLA management. What KPIs do they really care about? Like many others, improving that first time fix rate through intelligent task assignment and through making sure that the tasks have the right parts available to them. Last industry I'm going to talk about here really quick is healthcare. So this includes healthcare manufacturers, people that are building MRI machines and stuff like that, as well as healthcare providers. Um, Healthcare providers depend on having reliable equipment and facility operations to ensure patient safety and regulatory compliance. This could be operators working in hospitals or home healthcare. What are some common activities that they do? Biomedical equipment servicing is a big one, but also facilities maintenance. They work on the assets at those facilities. They also work on the equipment that they have that they bring to customer sites, sterilization equipment, um, blood testing equipment, that kind of thing. What are their key metrics and features? Well, big one is care about asset uptime. This is very expensive equipment, and very expensive services that they're providing. So making sure that the assets are available and performing as expected is critical. This is a highly regulated industry, so making sure that they are in compliance with regulatory standards, safety standards is a big one. They do a lot of work on PMs, so preventive maintenance type stuff to make sure the equipment is up and running as expected. And then certifying that their technicians have the right skills and experience to deliver these services that they provide. What are some key KPIs for them? The big one is increasing the critical equipment uptime, making sure that the equipment that they have to deliver these services, again, either in a hospital or clinic setting or in home healthcare, is critical for them to being successful in delivering their service. So curious, why don't we jump to the chat again and let us know what are some of your top FSM use cases, if you're in one of the industries I talked about or in a different one.
Oh, we have a poll going. Nice. Andrew, I can
Yep.
call out the results of the poll. So we have 25% in work order management, 25% scheduling and dispatching. Oh, I apologize, that's the wrong one. So we have in the chat higher ed as one of the top FSM use cases. We have facilities management for campus services. Nice. Any other top FSM use cases?
Those are great use cases, and I'm happy to see that there's so much interest in them because that's a lot of the follow-up sessions that we're going to be doing are focused on those areas. And I saw you raised your hand, Alexander. If you could do one or the other, either put your question in the chat and we'll make sure we get it answered right away, or if you can just hold it till the end. Like Salma said, we'll have some time at the end for questions. But feel free to put it in the chat and we'll try to answer sooner.
Correct. We have work scheduling for in-house agents, kiosk management at government state facilities, MPS, IT network equipment. These are all really good FSM use cases.
All right. Why don't we move along then? I know we want to make sure we get everything covered today. So the next section, I'm going to be talking about some of the FSM ecosystem itself and some of the key stakeholders in organizations for implementing and managing your FSM system. So first one I want to talk about is we're going to work left to right, and this is in order of kind of the delivery of setup and delivery of the service. So if we start at the left, the first two roles that we have are the FSM administrator and the overall ServiceNow administrator. So the FSM administrator is responsible for setting up and managing your FSM environment, defining your work processes, setting up, your surveys, safety surveys, customer satisfaction surveys, setting up the playbooks that define how service is delivered, depending on the type of work you're doing and the assets that you're working against. That's the responsibility of the FSM administrator. That person often works closely with your overall ServiceNow administrator. It's pretty rare that customers only have one product from ServiceNow. It's pretty rare for them only to have FSM. Most of our customers also have our CSM product, our customer service management product. They may have our ITSM product, our SOM product, sales and order management. Typically, there's a collection of products. So there's one person that administers over the top of the overall environment, and that person works closely with the administrators on the individual products. Now, for the day-to-day operations, the creation of the work orders, assignment of the work, we have three roles that may or may not be done by the same person. So I'm going to go through each one of these, but keep that in mind that in many organizations, this is one or two different people that are doing it. In others, they may be three or four different people with these roles, depending on the size of the organization and the complexity of the service they're delivering. So we'll start with the initiator. This is the person that is creating the work order. Great example of this is call takers in a call center. Customers call you, they need service to be done. Maybe they have a break fix job coming in. The initiator is that person in the call center that is talking to them and then ultimately creates the work order that ensures that that work can be delivered. The second role is a qualifier. And what a qualifier does is they look at the work orders that were created and make sure that the work orders are completely defined and set up before they get assigned out to agents in the field. So they're going through to make sure that it has all the information that's needed, and they may be breaking that work order down into multiple steps, multiple tasks. Now, why would you have multiple tasks? Because in order to deliver this service, you may have to do things that require different people at different times with different skills. So, for example, say I'm a home restoration company that focuses on correcting basements after a flood, right? So a house has a flood, they contact us, we create a work order through the dispatcher or through the call taker. Then a qualifier looks at that and says, okay, here's what needs to be done. We need to have one task to dry the basement, another task to rip out the carpeting and replace the carpeting, another task for new drywall and drywall replacement, another task for a electrician, and those tasks need to be done in a certain order and may have parts requirements. So making sure all that information is on the work order before it gets signed out is the job of the qualifier. The third role is the dispatcher. So once we have the tasks for a work order defined, the dispatcher's responsibility is finding the best technician to do that work. Now, what is the best technician? It's ultimately dependent on what your business objectives are, but means generally that they have the right skills, the right parts, they're available at the right time. We try to minimize travel times. All those things go into accounting what task should go to what person. And that's the role of the dispatcher. Now, again, oftentimes the qualifying and dispatcher are the same person. So it can be the same or it can be different. Like I said, there's many different products that ServiceNow has that are often connected with field service management. So the example I gave here started with someone in the call center, but it could be the work order could result from our ITSM solution or one of our other solutions as well. So moving on, now the work has been dispatched. We have two other roles. First is the approver. This is the person that looks at the work that's been assigned and is that last person that can check to make sure that it's been assigned to the right people. The people have the right skills. It's going to meet our contractual compliance. If a task was dispatched for tomorrow, but you have an SLA that says 6 hours, the approver might say, no, we need to reschedule that one. Oftentimes, like the qualifiers, dispatchers are the same person. Often the approver and the dispatcher are the same person. The last role I would talk about here is the agent. So this is the field technician. This is the person that's traveling to the customer site and delivering the service. So you can kind of see the end-to-end process from the creation of the work order all the way out through the fulfillment of the task and ultimately the fulfillment of the service request that that work order defines. So think about who these people might be in your organization. These slides are going to be available to you, so you can print this off and just document this. Again, some of these roles might be taken up by more than one person, or there might be different people in your organization. All right. I do want to quickly touch here on some of the core components of FSM, just to make sure everyone understands what are kind of the key things that FSM is made of. So the first thing is work order management. The work order is kind of the heart of field service, right? The work order is the request for service to be done for a customer. So work order management includes everything from the creation of the work order through the assignment of the work order through the delivery of the work order. It includes that whole life cycle from perhaps a customer portal or a call center agent out through the service being delivered by the field technician and being recorded in our mobile app. Second area is scheduling and dispatching. So this focuses on getting the right tech with the right skills and the right parts to the customer, assigned to do the work for the customer. Again, depending on your business priorities. Your business might say, you know, our number one priority is SLA compliance. I don't care how much travel we have to do, we have to hit SLA compliance. And that becomes the priority for the scheduling. It might be different. You know, you could have different priorities and you may have different constraints on yours as well. You may say, you know, for this service team in this region, I don't want any overtime. We've done a lot of overtime in the past and it's cost us a lot of money. So I want to understand what the schedule can look like without overtime so that I can properly resource that region. So, sorry, my voice is going here a little, but scheduling and dispatching includes things like manual scheduling, appointment booking, dynamic scheduling, and ultimately our AI-powered schedule optimization tool, which looks at the scheduling problem in totality and finds the best possible combination of assignments that meet your business objectives. Third area is technician enablement. So this is the mobile app in the field. This is designed to guide the technician through the performance of the work that needs to be done. So they go into a mobile app, they see what tasks have been assigned to them. They can see information about that task and what needs to be done. They may see detailed instructions, AI generated instructions from a knowledge base that tell them exactly what to do when on site. They can go through a series of surveys that is going to be safety, regulatory, customer satisfaction surveys. They record the parts they use, the labor time they spend, or have all their times automated for them just by changing statuses on the task, things like that. Technician enablement is about the work that's done by the technician in the field and making sure that we capture all that information so that we can have a process of continual improvement for our service organization. Fourth area, inventory management. Inventory is a huge part of the overall cost of delivery. And it's a huge constraint on who can do the work that needs to be done in many organizations. So ensuring that our technicians have the right parts to be available to them, the right equipment available to them, that they have the consumables that they need, screws, things like that. You know, consumables being anything that you're not really tracking by asset number or serial number, but you're tracking just by quantities. All those things, maintaining that and ensuring your techs have that and that you have an accurate recording of what they have, because that also indicates the cost of delivering the service. Fourth area is contractor management. One of the things that we've seen in this industry over the last 10 years, one of the areas of change is companies are becoming more and more dependent on using contractors to deliver service. A lot of different reasons for that. It could be that they're moving into a new region that they hadn't worked in before, and the region isn't large enough for them to staff up their own force, so they're just going to hire contractors to do it. It could be that they're making a strategic business decision to reduce the number of technicians they have and rely primarily on dedicated partners, dedicated partner contractors that they have. Whatever the reason, contractor management functionality in the application allows you to assign work to contractors, either directly or through a marketplace where you put work out there and then contractors can come in and bid on that work, skilled contractors that you've worked with in the past. It allows them to go through the debrief process to enter what they did so that you have full insight on when your contractors are going to do the work and what work they did and what the outcome of that work was. Was the customer satisfied? How quickly did they get it done? That kind of thing. Next area, AI automation and IoT integration. Critical, obviously, areas as we go forward. We use AI. We've been making a huge investment in AI over the last, I would say, 24 months, and we'll continue to do so going forward. We use it. It's core to our schedule optimization solution that looks at, what's the best possible combination of work assignments. But we also use it heavily to help technicians and help people in the back office deliver that service on a day-to-day basis. And that can include things like automatically generating knowledge base articles when you have expert technicians in the field delivering service, so that when later you have a more junior tech doing it, they can benefit from that information that was captured from the senior or the really experienced tech. We also have been doing a lot of work in agentic AI to look at how we can completely eliminate lower value repetitive work that's done by users of the application. Again, field techs, people in the call centers, or people in between, so that they can focus on higher value activities. This isn't about replacing people, it's about augmenting people so that we can deliver service better, faster, cheaper. IoT integration is about getting better real-time insights to the performance of equipment in the field. So rather than the historical model of where we send out someone every 3 months to do service on a piece of equipment to make sure it keeps running as expected, we capture real-time data about the equipment as it's performing in the field. We get insights into that performance, and we can better optimize our maintenance schedules on that equipment from that, and more quickly respond to impending break fixes, that kind of information. Now, you can only improve what you can measure, right? And that's where performance analytics and reporting comes in. It helps you understand how your teams are performing, how your individual service techs are performing, through a series of metrics that you define that are important to your business. And that could be utilization rate of your techs, could be first time fix rate, mean time to repair, all those different standard KPIs that you see in service organizations. Last one is capacity and reservation management. This is about making sure that you have enough resources in an area to do the work that needs to be done. Many businesses and many territories are seasonal in demand. So, for example, I've worked a lot with companies that do furnace repair and leasing across the country, and obviously across North America. And obviously that is very seasonal, right? I mean, people aren't fixing their furnaces in June, but come October, it becomes a very big issue. So making sure that you understand how many resources you're going to need at any given time, and then making sure that you can allocate and reallocate resources when there is a spike in demand, either through seasonal or in response to something unexpected. Maybe there is a wildfire or a hurricane or an earthquake that requires you to immediately move resources from unaffected areas to affected areas so that you can get people back up and running and safe as quickly as possible. Another poll question. What is your biggest FSM pain point? And I know we're running a little bit low on time, so please feel free to answer that, but I'm going to go ahead because I have a couple more slides I want to get through, and then I'll turn it back over to Salman. So as I said, the kind of the heart of field service is that work order, the work order itself, as well as the task underneath that work order. The way you can kind of understand this is a work order defines what the customer wants to have done. So it defines, it's a request from the customer that defines What service do they want to receive? Where do they want to receive it? And when do they want to receive it? So, for example, it might be someone asking a cable company to set up home internet at their house, or it may be that person working in a store um, that needs to have signage replaced in the next week or something like that. That's what the work order is. Underneath the work order are work order tasks. These are specific actionable steps involved in delivering that overall work order. Where you many times you may have a one-to-one relationship between the work order and the work order task, but depending on the kind of work that's being done and the complexity of that work, you may have a one-to-many relationship. So example I gave before was that home restoration, right? We have a flood. We're sending technicians to restore a homeowner's basement. There's multiple people that are going to be involved, and they need to be done in a certain order. So we'll break that work order down into multiple tasks. First task, we want to send someone to the house to dry the basement. Second task, we want to send someone to replace the carpeting. Once the carpeting is replaced, we're going to want to send a drywaller to repair any drywall that might have been in the basement, and then an electrician. All those things are multiple steps that are done by people with unique skills and can be done at different times that ultimately allow you to fulfill that work order that was created. So looking at kind of that process from a glance, manage field service requests with work orders, organize those work orders into tasks and make it as easy as possible to assign out to techs. Plan that work order with templates. So templates are defined regular service offerings that you have that can load a lot of the information onto the work order automatically for you, minimizing the amount of time it takes to set up and improving the overall data quality. Track the work orders from assignment to completion. So as the work gets assigned to technicians and they get it on their mobile device, in the back office, you have a real-time view of everything that's being done and recorded. So as the technicians are traveling to the site, as they arrive, as they're doing the work, as they're getting that customer signature, saying that they're satisfied, all the way through that process, you have a real-time view of what's happening. And then the last bit is scheduling dispatch agents on site. So making sure, again, that you send the right text with the right skills, the right parts at the right time to the customer to deliver that service offering. All right. I am going to transition back to Salmet.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. That was very, very insightful. Um, I will bring up my screen now. And again, thank you so much, Andrew. That was super insightful. Um, uh, Andrew, can you confirm you can see my screen?
No, it's still showing I stopped my share.
Okay. How about now?
Yes.
Perfect. And we're looking at the customer success screen. Now that we've explored all of what we have as an introduction part, as FSM as part of ServiceNow, as an AI platform, how do we go ahead to accelerate this journey and start realizing value super fast? So this is our customer success ecosystem. So we have the ServiceNow impact, this gateway to maximizing the power of AI of the platform itself. And then we have training and certifications from ServiceNow University. This really is about people and helping you build skills and knowledge so that your team is able to innovate, adopt, and lead. And then finally, we have expert services as well, our own ecosystem of ServiceNow. Experts, certified partners, they're here to help customers design, implement, and optimize solutions so that customers are able to move from pilot to production with clarity and with speed as well. And also, I wanted to share some resources that will come in really handy in our journey as part of the series, on of the series, as well as of the series, as we continue to innovate and release new capabilities. It's very important that we're staying up to date so that your team is knowing when to upgrade. And the best way to do that is our official product documentation. So this is a go-to resource to understand how the product works, but also what's coming new in every single release. So you want to bookmark this website, explore it, use it as a daily companion, to be able to get much more out of FSM. And then we understand that questions don't stop whenever we stop working, so at 5 p.m. And neither does our support at ServiceNow. So if you have any issues, you can get 24/7 access to technical help, product updates, errors, library full of solutions to really keep you and your team moving, even at off time, so you don't have to wait. So to troubleshoot, product documentation, and then we also have the Now community for peer insight. Um, Also, I wanted to share the in-product help for question, tips, tools, and we're gonna have the links to this in the documentation, I think, sent out in an email, so you can have all of this bookmarked and check them out. Um, we also have when you've installed and implemented, but maybe you're noticing gaps in integration with specific apps or use cases. We have the now ServiceNow store apps and solutions. And most times, cost is not an issue. Since you already implemented and installed, a lot of this are free and based on subscription. And then we have the developer homepage as well. And lastly, we have the uh, YouTube community. So if you're a visual learner like me, think about YouTube as a place to really go to connect and watch videos. We have demos on a lot of our products, as well as using our community page for just talking to to peers on what's happening in field service management. We're looking forward to having you on the next episodes. Thank you so much, and we hope that you have a wonderful day ahead.